morning to you, friend, and welcome back to the Higher Grounds podcast. It is a joy to come by and be with you today, and I appreciate all of the correspondence that we've received. I was talking to Matthew the other day, who is not with us on the podcast today. He's behind the camera and checking Facebook and such, and Brother Matthew said that he has been recognized out on the road, as being a part of the Higher Grounds podcast, and we're grateful that you would do that for such a person as Matthew. It's kind of a big deal for Matthew to be recognized, and so I need for you to send in some correspondence just to just pump old Matthew up. He has some struggles with the self-confidence deal. Michael has no problem with self-confidence. I have no problem with self-confidence.
And now you know why I'm not here much.
Matthew's got a little issue, but you make him feel good. And you just send a little note by and say, when's Matthew coming back on? I miss him so much. And we may even have a Matthew T-shirt made up or something. That's right.
It's good. Tucker time.
It's on, baby.
Tucker time.
We got the shirt.
Tucker time.
It's Tucker time.
Hashtag Tucker time.
Yes.
Oh, that's coming. It's coming.
Let the viral tweets begin.
Yeah. Here we go.
Time.
Tucker time.
It's trending already.
Yeah,
Wow.
This will be on documentary
already.
one day. This little episode will be on documentary how it all started.
That's exactly right.
Tucker
When
time.
Matthew will be sitting up in the,
when he's pastored at Bellevue, and
right. They come by and interview him.
How did the legend begin? Well, it all started on a podcast when Chris Simpson said it's Tucker time.
Tucker time, and it
exploded all
hashtagged
over
and
the
exploded,
place,
and
he could either be at Bellevue or WrestleMania. You never
or
know.
both at the same time.
Could be. You never can tell.
I'm telling you, Tucker time. I like that.
Yeah, I like it.
Did that just? Are you been?
I think so. I don't know.
Are you been?
No, I mean, these
stewing
things
on
are.
that?
No,
That's what goes on inside the mind of a
These
genius.
are prophetic utterances.
So why
I mean,
have you not written a song? We talked about that the other day.
Yeah,
you can do that stuff.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. It just will not. It will not come.
He was a little modest. I was in the room when that was being recorded. When you asked me had he written any song, he actually has written a song. It was more like he co-wrote a song.
Yeah.
It's not of a gospel genre. It's Friends in Low Places. You ever heard that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You did something on this podcast one time again.
Well, y'all were the inspiration for that song.
I did. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Hey,
that stirred a little mess, didn't it?
hey, y'all were the inspiration for that song.
Oh, yeah,
y'all are my friends.
Oh, really?
In the low places.
Yeah, in the low places.
Well, we are in the basement of the church.
We are in the basement of the church. Yeah, number one. Number two, you have a great ministry of encouragement.
Yeah.
That nobody's ever seen.
Right.
Yeah.
You're saving that for your golden years,
Yeah,
right?
it's for said. Yeah, that's the way Larry Wells is. I mean, Larry is such a sweetie, and he's helping so many people.
Sure.
I'm like, where was that when I was growing up? Where's
It's
that?
a different season.
Yeah,
It's a different season.
Yeah, he sends out these texts and say, "Don't quit. You're greatly
You are needed.
And to me, it was like, I brought you in this world. I can take you out.
That's great. Yeah. Quoting Bill Cosby.
Yeah, that's right. So, anyhow, I just wondered where that man was when I was growing up.
We love Brother Wells.
Amen.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir. I love him, too. He's my dad. I wouldn't be here without him.
Right.
That's right.
That's not just metaphorically speaking.
No.
Yeah.
No. I'm going to step away from the camera for just a half a second to get my coffee off there. I fixed coffee and didn't get it. So tell them what we're going to talk about, Michael.
Okay, well, on this episode, we're actually supposed to be discussing the subject of Bible college and the impact it had in your life, if you went or not. Maybe I'm assuming where we went.
Yeah.
What you brought out of that experience, so forth and so on.
Sure.
Right. Well, I think there's a lot of different modes of Bible college experience now because of technology and because of some really free-thinking guys. There's been a lot of different genres by which you can get a good Bible education. Sure. And we'll talk about how we received a Bible education and then what we think works best. And there's no pat answer for that. So we'll just talk about that. Now you, of course, I was on your timeline. I was a little confused about when you went to Bible college because you started at 18 on full staff.
Okay.
On full-time on staff.
Right. So what happened is I graduated high school when I was 17 years old in May, graduated. And then I started Bible college that fall. I didn't turn 18 until December of that year. So I was actually already living I went to Faith Baptist Institute in Resaca, Georgia, with Sammy Allen, the Concord Baptist Church, Fairmount, Georgia. This is the ministry of that church. So I was already living in Resaca, enrolled in college when I was 17 years old. And so I actually, through homeschooling, I skipped a grade, so I got done a little early, and so I just went on to Bible college, and so I only went 2 years. So I went to all of so from 05 to 06. So that was fall of 2005. So May of 2006 I got married. I would have been 18, and then I went one more year after I got married, and then I started pastoring right in the middle of that second year.
Okay.
And so I finished up that second year, and I was just kind of
so you
busy.
You were still in Bible college while you were on staff.
Yeah. When I got married, I started working with my grandfather at the church. And,
okay.
So
how far was the church from Resaca?
About an hour and 10, 15 minutes.
Okay.
So what I did, my first year of Bible college, I lived on the property. I lived on campus,
right.
And I stayed in a dorm, and I worked in the area and all that kind of stuff. That's when I worked at the carpet mill and all
right.
that stuff. And then when I started working in the church and I got married, I just drove. There was actually another pastor in Dallas, a good brother. He's still there pastoring, and he was taking some classes. And so they did 4 nights a week, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, every night.
Right.
And so he was going 2 nights a week. So we would carpool. We would just ride together 2 nights a week, and then I would drive the other 2 nights.
Now, I don't mean to make you pick favorites, but I'm going to make you pick a favorite.
Sure. That's okay.
Who was your favorite instructor there?
Okay, I sat under Brother Stennett Ballou for 2 years. Every Monday night for 2 years, I sat. During the school year, I sat under Brother Ballou. So, bar none, he was. I mean, that's. Stennett Ballou, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Enough said.
Yeah.
I mean, so that was amazing. I mean, just to sit at his feet for 2 years. In fact, what was amazing, right before I got married, he taught through his book, the book he wrote on the home, which is probably one of the best books on the home. He taught through that book, the whole semester before I got married, and then he did a whole semester on his missions book. He's got a book called The Tragedy of Missing Missions, and he taught through that book. And then I think my second year, he just went through the church epistles both semesters. So I got to sit in on that and be around. I got to travel with Brother Ballou some, living in Resaca. He lived right next door to the camp, Faith Baptist camp, and next to Brother Sammy. They both lived just right there next to the camp. So I got to travel with Brother Ballou some, drive him to some meetings and things. He would let me, like if he needed a driver, he'd just be like, look, you can make up that class later and just drive me or whatever, So I would go with him, and so that was great. But I'll tell you, there was another teacher that had a very, very profound impact on my life. Not a lot of people would know him, but he taught every week. I sat under Brother Henderson. He taught 2 nights a week. So he taught 2 nights a week. And I love Brother Henderson. But I tell you, this one man, other than Brother Ballou, is a preacher by the name of Larry Grisham. I don't know if you knew Larry Grisham. Yeah. His son-in-law, Brother Tim Giddens. A lot of folks know Brother Tim Giddens. So Brother Giddens' father-in-law, Miss Allison's daddy, Larry Grisham was one. He was pastoring in Tennessee. He would drive down on maybe Tuesday nights or Thursday nights and teach. And I tell you, I loved his teaching. His teaching was tremendous. He was a great teacher. But I think what I loved most about Brother Grisham was that there was not a week that he came that he did not bring something to give us. He gave us books. He would have stuff on CDs like Bible, like books on CD. I got books that are out of print, but I have them on CD, like Ed Vallot's Riches and Revelation. It's like $400 for the set. I have them on a CD, and he gave those to me.
Brother Grisham,
See me after this.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm telling you, brother, if I'm not mistaken,
that might be illegal.
Was he was Brother Grisham not a representative for eSword or Sword Search?
That sounds right, because he said, bring me your laptop.
Right.
And I remember I brought my laptop to him, a little Gateway laptop I had. He loaded it down with
Brother Grisham
everything.
Had the stuff.
Man, I had a set. I had eSword. I had Sword Searcher, Word Search. Brother Grisham's the one that installed all of it on there for me. He'd bring thumb drives full of books. He would bring CDs and then books and stuff. There was not a week that he did not give us
hundreds and hundreds of thousands of pages.
Yes. And he just loved us. He was so down to earth and just
Can we stop and pray, man? I'm over here dying with covetousness right now. I'm not gonna lie.
And even I'm gonna be honest, even just within the last year, and his health's not that great, and he's been through a lot. He's really been through a lot the last couple of years. And
how old is Brother Grisham?
And I don't know how old Brother Grisham is.
I know Daddy used to preach for him quite a bit.
Yes, and I'm not sure how old he is. I'd hate to guess and be wrong, but I would say probably mid-70s. I would say, but he's had a lot of bad health issues and a lot of things in his life. Just kind of a rough go at it. But even like a year ago, he sent me a book on. Just like on through Facebook Messenger. He's like, "Hey, I'm gonna send you some stuff." It's just It just don't quit. I don't care what he's been through, and I don't care what his health. It's just that's who he is, and so he just gives. And he probably outside of Brother Blue and just the giant that Brother Blue is. So there was like a giant, and then there was just like Brother Grisham, who was just the common preacher. Not a lot of people knew who he was, but everybody loved him, and I still love him, and he made a big impact in my life.
Amen.
Now, if you were staying on campus, did they require you to join the church?
No. In fact, I went home every weekend. And that was twofold. They did not require you to join the church, but if you moved to the campus from out of town, you had to attend Concord Baptist Church. You had to be there. So I went there on Wednesday nights because I worked, every day, and so I would I would go on Wednesday nights. But on Sundays, I guess because I was close enough to go home, they kind of like made a special exception for me. And one of the reasons was I was the pianist at our church, and we didn't have anybody else. Right. So my grandfather's like, "Hey, I need you." They struggled on Wednesday nights, without me, so I could go to college, and so I went home on Sundays.
I've taken some exception to, and that may have changed now, but years ago, with most of the Bible colleges that were of a fundamental nature, if you moved there to go to college, and most of the time for 4 years or 6, depending on what you were going for, you were required to join that church fellowship. And I always just took a little exception.
Many levels, absolutely. We've had some kids in our church go to Crown, and that's not something they do at Crown. So I know that they don't have to join. In fact, they're very adamant about.
Well, they used
local
to
church,
maybe
they've changed that. I know they don't now. I know they don't now.
Yeah.
So. I know some of the bigger ones do.
Yeah, because we had one that went to Crown when I was in Tennessee, and they that was the big deal, and they got an exception because he was our piano player.
Yeah.
And then of course they courted him until they got him to move his church membership over. But that was, that's just bitterness coming out of me.
Yeah. Well, I think there's something wrong with that. I think.
Yeah, there is. So. It's an ethics problem.
Yes.
You went to Calvary King.
Yes.
Right. Talk about your experience there.
Started Lighthouse in 2005, and didn't take long before I knew I was over my head as far as just the weekly grind of studying the Bible. I didn't really, I felt like I knew the Bible well enough that studying was not just an overwhelming task every time I opened the book.
Yeah.
And so in 2009, I went to Calvary there in King, and at that time, Dr. Roger Baker was still affiliated with the school. Matter of fact, he was basically the dean and was doing the majority of the teaching, or a lot of the teaching there. And so that was a very transformative time. I was there from 2009, 2013. That's when I graduated. It was 13. And so I had a really good Bible college experience. Bible college for me, it taught me just a lot of the basics, because again, your undergrad is not for you to come out and be a master of certain books of the Bible. It's just going to give you the tools. It doesn't take away from all the study you got to do on your own, but it teaches you how to study. It'll teach you some stuff that you may learn quickly that you would have dug a lifetime to find out.
Yeah.
And
discipline more than anything.
Yes, the discipline part of it, no doubt about that. And so I came out and at least had the tools then to get started in becoming a better pastor, better in the pulpit, and so forth and so on. And I'll say this when I call it transformative years because. I was in a little bit of a ditch, and it helped bring me to more to the middle of the road.
I get you.
And so I will forever be indebted to what I got at my years at Calvary. Yes, sir.
Amen. Now, was Calvary an on-campus college for most students, or were there some students that would move to the area and get an apartment, or how did that work?
Yeah, that's a great question. When I went there, first of all, Calvary was nothing but a preacher school. They only took preachers. They didn't have a diversity where they took girls or nothing like that. So it's just preachers, okay? And we had a bunch of guys that drove, like Brother Chris did, in, and so we were a Monday, Tuesday were the days that we had classes. I think that's right, or is it Tuesday, Thursday? No, it's Tuesday, Thursday. Tuesday, Thursday. The reason they done that so the guys could still work, because some guys would come and be married, have a family, and so forth and so on. Now, at that time, they had a house that they used as a dormitory, so guys could come if they were too far away to drive and they wanted to move, they could. And so it had a lot of versatility. I'd say when I went there, probably 70-80% of our student body at that time, which was somewhere around 30 to 35 guys, would have been bivocational, and or a lot of us were already pastoring and going to school at the same time, kind of late bloomers, I guess you would say. And
right.
then we would still have a healthy number of 6-8 guys who were not married yet, and Bible college was what they were at that season of their life investing their life into. Right. And so we had some classroom experiences were awesome, and we had some awesome discussions in class. I bet. And a lot of good times, a lot of growing times.
Well, what do you think is nowadays, as far as Bible college is concerned, for a preacher, and I'm of the opinion, I think you need to keep it, for preachers. If you want to have a secular college, go to a secular college, But if you're going to have a Bible college, I think it needs to be exclusively for preachers. That's my opinion. It's not right or wrong. It's just my opinion. Now, what you do have now is you have, of course, in-class Bible college, where you go and you stay on campus and you move to the area and you are participating in classes, 4 to 5 days a week, and participating in ministry in a practical way in that local church. And then if you're close enough to get to drive home, that's an option for a lot of places and a lot of guys. But then you've got the strict correspondence school, where you send off and they send you correspondence materials, and you work your way through the books and buy the materials and do correspondence. Then, of course, there is, like we did at ABC, Advanced Bible College, that I am affiliated with. You log on Monday, and your classes are there on Monday, and you're put on a schedule like you would be in a regular school. But then there is there's the personalized track by which you're able to take it correspondence, but it's all digital. It's not material in hand. And you watch the videos at your own pace. What do you think works best, Brother Chris? And I don't know that there's a bad answer for that, because everybody learns differently.
That's right. And that's what I was going to say. I don't think there is a best. I think there's a best for an individual, not like a best overall, because, I think
what works best for you?
The needs of that. I enjoyed being in the classroom, and I enjoyed sitting on it. Because I'm going to be honest. I tell you what made the most lasting impression. It wasn't necessarily the Bible knowledge I was receiving. Now, obviously, I learned Bible knowledge, because obviously I didn't know it all then. I don't know it all now. Anytime you sit in a Bible class, you're going to learn Bible knowledge. But what impressed me the most was being able to touch and interact and be around those men, like Brother Ballou, like Brother Grisham, like Brother Henderson.
Why were you wanting to touch men anyway?
Yeah, I don't know.
Always.
But just being able to be in a room with those guys, that's what made an impact on me.
There's a camaraderie there,
and I tell you what you get. Well, you get this one in all kind of formats of Bible college, I'm sure. But what you learn in Bible college, more than just the Bible knowledge, because it doesn't matter what format you use. Pretty much, I'm talking within our realm, you're going to get good, solid doctrinal Bible teaching. I think one of the biggest things, one of the most important things you get from Bible college is discipline, self-discipline.
What we said a minute ago,
It's learning to turn in things on a deadline. Right. It's learning to, even like okay, so I'm living in a dorm. Okay, I'm away from home. I mean, at least for a couple days, you know, and there's somebody watching over us, but and we're accountable to. But I'm going to work. I'm coming home. Our classes were at night, so I would get my stuff together and turn in stuff on deadlines and write papers and do homework and all this stuff. And I tell you, just learning that the discipline and the experience of interacting with other young preachers and sitting under teachers. And I don't know. It's just you absorb a lot more than just Bible knowledge in Bible college.
And I think when I was listening to what you said, Brother Mike, about the discussions in class, was that one of the most important things of your Bible college education, was the ability to sit and have personal discussion with one another and bounce stuff back and forth? Is that what you did?
I think it kind of opened up an sharpening iron kind of a scenario. You know what I'm saying? You find out where you're at. You find out where other guys are. Sometimes what you thought you believe gets challenged.
Yes.
It's all positive. You know what I'm saying? Because when something you believe gets challenged, you either deepen your understanding and ability to defend it, or if it's loose and it's not real tightened up, you may realize, okay, well, maybe I didn't stand right there. So here's something I didn't think about, kind of deal.
That right there, that's a main thing for me. Yeah. I had a class. Brother Eric Brown was a teacher in my second year, and he did a class on the cults. But for whatever reason, he was doing. He wanted us to. He said, "Everybody, get out a sheet of paper, write me an essay on when the church started." So I think he was just trying to find some kind of controversial.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't even remember what I believed. I don't even remember it being an issue. I didn't know people disagreed on that.
Right.
And I just wrote down. I didn't know what I believed. I never was taught anything of what I was supposed to believe on that. And I just remember my first sentence. When Jesus came to this earth, he started a church. And that's what I wrote down. Now, you can debate that or whatever. I don't even know if I believe that now or if I believed it then. I don't know. That's just what I wrote down. But Brother Brown, literally, here's what Eric Brown did. And Brother Brown, if you're watching this, you've traumatized me to this day. Brother Brown, he took everybody's paper and he read it out loud to the whole class. And he picked it apart in front of everybody. And I remember him taking my paper and saying, when Jesus came to this earth, he started a church. Like, really? Who believes that in here? And I'm just like, I don't even know if I believe it. I don't know.
And I wrote it.
And then it just occurred to me and then we had a discussion about that. And there's stuff like the gap theory and stuff in Genesis 6 and all that. I didn't even know those things were even issues, you know.
Right.
And just to be able to sit in there and people have disagreeing view, you know, and teachers that would let you kind of go back and forth and that iron sharpening iron. Yeah, that was one thing that popped in my mind when you said that.
And here's the beauty of that. Okay, that traumatic experience in Bible college, though, translates over to now where you're getting ready to go preach on a subject and you're going to so comb through that and tighten it up to where if afterwards somebody's like, well, I disagree with that and here's why, you'll be able to say, well, here's, you know, I very clearly laid out my argument as to why I stand where I stand and believe what I believe.
Words mean something.
Yes, they do.
And how you say it, that has implications doctrinally in what you're teaching people. And that's the lesson I learned that day. Like, you don't just put things out there all willy-nilly, you know.
No, sir.
You need to think through something before you say it or before you write it, especially.
Yeah. Well, one thing he mentioned too earlier was about, you know, Bible college teaching you to study and this, that, and the other. I know this. One of the things about Bible college that I saw value in was we saw some guys come that realized that they weren't called.
Yeah,
once they got there,
it
filters out, and that's a benefit to them and to the church.
Did you have any guys get saved once they got into Bible college?
I've heard of that. I don't believe we ever experienced it. No, sir. I don't believe so.
I don't remember. I know there was some. I think there was some actually that I went to school with. I'm thinking of one guy particularly. I think he had gotten saved since he had been there, but it was before I came. So
I got you.
Yeah.
So your ability to debate and argue a point it helped develop it. You couldn't have gotten that in a video class at the house.
Well, you couldn't interact as easy. You couldn't be part of the discussion. I mean, I guess you probably could type in and they'll read your kind of deal. I'll tell you what helped me tremendously in Bible college. You know, I guess I suffered from a common plague of many young preachers. You think you know more than you actually know. And when you get in that environment, you're like, man, I really don't know what in the world I'm talking about. And it's a humbling experience, you know. And it's actually lasted till now, and it's still the humbling is still, you know. And I'm still like, you know.
Did you ever think am I cut out for this? And do I need to do this?
Yeah, I was a terrible student in school. I had no desire to learn anything that they were teaching me. But by the time God saved me and called me to preach, I was infatuated with what they had to say.
Yeah.
And like every class was like, we pick about this. I went with a brother to Cuba to teach hermeneutics.
Yeah.
At the end of the week, those men wept because they got the opportunity to take the course. I wept because I had to. It's a different kind of weeping, you know what I'm saying? But no, in all seriousness, I mean, and I'm still to this day, I'm infatuated with the books, the learning, the knowledge other men have. It's where if I could have anything, like Solomon's, praying for, one of the things I think I would probably ask for was, God, give me, I don't even want the ability to sleep if I can just spend those extra 8 hours soaking in, you know what I'm saying?
Retain all that.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, this is a topic that I want to cover in the future. And if you will, I want to cover your testimony, and you have made a lot of strides forward from the group that once you got saved and then you got connected with a group of people, not bad, but I mean, you have grown past some things, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but I think that journey would be a topic that our people on the podcast would like to hear, if you're willing to do that sometime.
Sure.
Because I'm very familiar with some of what you grew up in early, and then how God has advanced you forward. It has been really a phenomenal journey.
It has. I'm amazed that the Lord put up with me long enough to, give me an opportunity to, to maybe get exposed to some other things and make some wrongs right.
Well, there has to be a willingness to grow beyond yourself too.
Yeah.
I think, and very few people have a willingness to grow beyond themselves.
Amen.
I have appreciated, local church Bible institutes, the way we do college, as far as the in a very technological way. I think it has worked well, particularly with people that are needing to work and support a family and then get an education as well. I think that works well.
I got one big thing, one last thing I think a benefit, and that has been, and this is something that benefits me this day, is the connections that I make.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That I'm going to be honest. I mean, that literally, even right now going into evangelism, a lot of the connections that I made,
right.
Faith Baptist Camp, Faith Baptist Institute, it's paying. Those
that's
are
a good word.
It's paying dividends, if you will. And I'm not talking about money.
No,
I'm talking about
in
relationships and
Friends,
opportunity doors that have opened for me. I met a preacher through that college, and he's the one that recommended me to the church that I've been at the last 10 years. I'm just saying, it's just how God. It's a lot of times where you choose to go to college, that's going to be kind of a crowd that you're going to be associated with, and doors are going to open or not open based on a lot of those things. So I would have to say that's one of the biggest things as well. It's made a lot of connections in my life.
Amen. Well, thank you for watching today. Thank you for tuning in. I hope this information has been a help to you. If you're a young preacher and you're looking for some direction on Bible colleges to attend or anything of that nature, feel free to message us, and we'll give you some pointers and point you in some directions that I think will be a help to you. And from us to you, as always, you keep pressing on the upward way, and next week we'll see you again.